Apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination that took place in South Africa from 1948 to the early 1990s. The word apartheid is Afrikaans for apartness, and it was characterized by laws and policies that separated people according to race, giving privileges to the white minority while oppressing the non-white majority, particularly black South Africans. Although racial segregation existed in South Africa before 1948, apartheid became officially policed when the National Party, dominated by Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch settlers, came to power that year. A series of laws were enacted to enforce racial separation, including the Population Registration Act, classifying people by race, and Group Areas Act, designating separate living areas of different races, and the Bantu Education Act, creating interior education for black South Africans. Black, colored, mixed race, and Indian South Africans were stripped of their citizenship and political rights. They were forced to live in separate areas, often in impoverished homelands called Bantustans. Interracial marriage and relationships were banned. Non-whites faced restrictions on movement, employment, and even which hospitals or schools they could use. Opposition to apartheid came from both within and outside of South Africa. The African National Congress, ANC, founded in 1912, became the main resistance movement along with other groups like the Pan-Africanist Congress. Notable activists include Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, and Desmond Tutu. Protest strikes and international campaigns, including economic sanctions and boycotts, increased pressure on the government. By the late 1980s, internal unrest and international condemnation made apartheid unsustainable. In 1990, President F.W.D. Klerk began negotiations to dismantle apartheid, releasing Nelson Mandela from prison after 27 years. Apartheid laws were repealed and South Africa held its first multiracial democratic elections in 1994, resulting in Nelson Mandela becoming the first black president of South Africa. After the end of the apartheid in 1994, South Africa underwent a period of profound transformation and faced significant challenges as it built a new democratic society. Here's an overview of what happened next. The first democratic elections in 1994. In April 1994, South Africa held its first fully democratic elections open to citizens of all races. The African National Congress, ANC, won a decisive victory and Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president. This marked the official end of apartheid and the beginning of a new era, focused on reconciliation and national building. In 1995, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was established by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The TRC aimed to uncover the truth about human rights abuses during apartheid, allow victims to share their stories, and provide amnesty to perpetrators who confessed their crimes. The process helped promote healing and forgiveness, though it was also criticized by some who felt justice was not fully served. South Africa adopted a new constitution in 1996, widely regarded as one of the most progressive in the world. It enriched equal rights for all citizens, regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation, and established a strong institution to protect democracy. Despite political progress, South Africa faced and still faces huge challenges. Inequality. The legacy of apartheid left deep economic and social divides. Wealth and land ownership remained largely in the hands of the white minority, and poverty was widespread among black South Africans. Unemployment high rates, especially among the youth, have persisted. Crime rates remained high, partly due to economic hardship and social disruption. HIV and AIDS. The country experienced a severe HIV and AIDS epidemic which strained public health resources. Political landscape. The ANC has remained the dominant political party since 1994 up to 2026, but it has faced criticism over corruption, mismanagement, and failure to significantly reduce inequality. Leadership changes over the years have included Thabo Mbeki, Kangalema Motlanthe, Jacob Zuma, and Cyril Ramaphosa as presidents after Mandela. Ongoing efforts. South Africa has made progress in areas like expanding access to education, healthcare, and housing. Efforts in land reform and economic empowerment for black South Africans continue through progress is slow and sometimes controversial. After the end of apartheid, South Africa transitioned to democracy and made important strides in human rights and political freedom. However, the country continues to deal with the enduring effects of apartheid, especially regarding economic inequality, social challenges, and political issues. The journey towards true equality and reconciliation is ongoing. Therefore, there are some other factors that are affecting youth of South Africa. South Africa's youth unemployment rate is among the highest in the world, often exceeding 50%. Many young people struggle to find jobs after completing their education due to a mismatch between skills and labor market needs. Unemployment leads to poverty, frustration, and sometimes involvement in crime or substance abuse, which are use of tobacco, use of nyaope, crystal meth, and abuse of alcohol. Education challenges. Access to quality education remains uneven, with many public schools lacking resources, qualified teachers, and adequate facilities, especially in rural and townships areas. Dropout rates in secondary schools are high, and many students leave school without sufficient skills for the job market. Higher education is expensive and limited, making university access difficult for many. Poverty and inequality. The legacy of apartheid left deep economic divides. Many young people grow up in poor communities with limited access to services, nutrition, and opportunities. Poverty affects mental health, physical well-being, and the ability to focus on education or personal development. Crime and violence. Youth are both victims and sometimes perpetrators of crime due to high unemployment, poverty, and social dislocation. Gang violence and substance abuse are significant issues in certain urban and rural areas. HIV and AIDS and health issues. South Africa has one of the highest HIV and AIDS prevalence rates in the world. Many young people are at risk due to lack of education, healthcare access, and social stigma. Other health challenges include mental health issues, teenage pregnancy, and substance abuse. Social exclusion and lack of opportunities. Many youth feel excluded from the mainstream economy and political processes. Barriers such as lack of networks, experience, and capital make it hard for young people to start businesses or access opportunities. Political disillusionment. While youth played a crucial role in the fight against apartheid, many today feel disconnected from politics and have little trust in political leaders and institutions due to corruption and slow progress on issues like jobs and equality. Technology and digital divide. While some youth benefit from access to technology and the internet, many in rural or poor areas lack connectivity, limiting access to information, education, and job opportunities.